नमस्कारम नीहू एल्ला सबसे पहले भारतीय जनता पार्टी आंध्र प्रदेश, हमारे आंध्र प्रदेश भारतीय जनता पार्टी के संगठन महामंत्री श्रीमान मधुकर जी, हमारे आंध्र प्रदेश भारतीय जनता पार्टी के मीडिया इंचार्ज श्रीमान नागभूषणम जी, सोशल मीडिया भारतीय जनता पार्टी आंध्र प्रदेश के इंचार्ज केशवकांत जी, यहाँ पर बैठे हुए सभी महानुभाव और विशेष अतिथि और सोशल मीडिया के इन्फ्लुएंसर के रूप में भारतीय जनता पार्टी और हमारी विचारधारा के लिए काम करने वाले सभी जो लोग आज यहाँ पर इकट्ठा हुए हैं, तो मैं आप सभी लोगों का तहे दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ, शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि आपकी वजह से मुझे आंध्र प्रदेश और खास करके विजयवाड़ा की इस पवित्र भूमि पर आने का अवसर मिला। आपका बहुत 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 आभार। और मैं जब आ रहा था, मैं हिंदी में बोलूं तो कंफर्टेबल है ना? yes. मैं हमारे कुछ साथी डीएमके वाले कंफर्टेबल नहीं रहते। हम इंपोजिशन और डोमिनेशन की बात नहीं करते हैं, परंतु और हमारे देश में कोई सच में बोलो तो नेशनल लैंग्वेज नहीं है, ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेज ही है सभी, पर नेशनल भावना जो है वो हिंदी है, तो उसमें स्वीकारने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं होनी चाहिए। हम सभी लोगों की राष्ट्रीय भावना हिंदी में आती है, राष्ट्रीय भाषा हिंदी नहीं है पर राष्ट्रीय भावना हिंदी जरूर है। तो मुझे लगता है ये इंपोजिशन नहीं, ये हमारा मिश्रण है। मैं सोच रहा था केशवकांत जी ने मुझे और अनिल एंटनी जी ने जो हमारे राष्ट्रीय सचिव है, उन्होंने मुझे आदेश दिया कि विजयवाड़ा आना है और वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन पर अपनी बात रखनी है। तो मैंने सोचा कि विजयवाड़ा से अच्छी कोई जगह नहीं हो सकती थी इसके, क्योंकि अगर केशवकांत जी आप देखेंगे आजकल वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन तो दूर की बात है, उस पर तो हम आएंगे वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन पर। आजकल कुछ राजनीतिक दल, कुछ पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज इस देश को वन नेशन मानने को तैयार नहीं। आजकल तो ये कहते हैं कि ये इंडिया इज नॉट अ नेशन, इंडिया इज यूनियन ऑफ स्टेट्स। इंडिया जो है अलग अलग राज्य है, प्रदेश है, वो एक हो गए हैं, परंतु वो देश नहीं। और ऐसा कहने वाले लोग लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन के पोस्ट पर बैठे हैं, उनके परिवार से दो दो तीन तीन बार प्रधानमंत्री बने, तो वो देश को वन नेशन मानने को तैयार नहीं है। इस परिस्थिति में जो हम लोग वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन का डिस्कशन करने के लिए जमा होते हैं, और वो भी विजयवाड़ा। और विजयवाड़ा इसलिए सही जगह में मानता हूं क्योंकि विजयवाड़ा वही जगह है। और आप देखिए कि जब प्रभु श्री राम को वनवास में जाना पड़ा, तो ये मान्यता है कि प्रभु श्री राम, मां सीता और लक्ष्मण जी विजयवाड़ा आए थे और वहीं पर उन्होंने मां दुर्गा का आशीर्वाद लिया था। और मां दुर्गा का आशीर्वाद इंद्रकीलाद्रि पर्वत पर लेने के बाद ही उनको अयोध्या जो उत्तर प्रदेश में है वहां पर जाने का अवसर मिला और लंका पर उन्होंने विजय हासिल की। तो अगर विजय हासिल करना था तो विजयवाड़ा में आकर पहले आशीर्वाद लेना था, यह हकीकत है। अभी मैं बहुत ही सुंदर गेस्ट हाउस में रुका हुआ था, हमारे सर का वहां पे उन्होंने मुझे होस्ट किया है। तो मैं देख रहा था कि एकदम सुंदर कृष्ण नदी, और एकदम मन शांत हो गया उस कृष्ण नदी को देखकर, उसके पास बैठकर। सुबह में गया भी था, वहां पर पूजा अर्चना भी की, वहां पे शिवलिंग भी है। तो कृष्ण नदी जो है, इसका नाम जो पड़ा है नदी का, वो कृष्णा द्वैपायन व्यासा के नाम पर, मतलब जिनको हम कहते हैं वेद व्यास। और वेद व्यास ने महाभारत को ऑथर किया था, जो कुरुक्षेत्र हरियाणा में हुई। तो एक और विजयवाड़ा का कनेक्शन आप देखिए, हरियाणा से और कुरुक्षेत्र से जुड़ता है वाया महाभारत। आपने ये भी देखा होगा कि एक बहुत प्रबल मान्यता है कि अर्जुन जी, पांडवों में से अर्जुन जी भी यहीं पर आए थे और शिव जी की उन्होंने पूजा अर्चना की और तभी जाकर उन्हें वो अस्त्र मिला और महाभारत में जीत हासिल हुई। और उसके बाद भी कहा जाता है कि विजयवाड़ा का नाम विजयवाड़ा पड़ा। तो आप देखेंगे कि जो लोग वन नेशन पर सवाल उठाते हैं, विजयवाड़ा तो वो संगम है उत्तर और दक्षिण का, रामायण और महाभारत का, प्रभु श्री राम और अर्जुन का, शिव और शक्ति का, जो चीख चीख कर गवाही देता है कि ये केवल वन नेशन नहीं है, ये वन सिविलाइजेशन भी है। और उत्तर से लेकर दक्षिण तक विजयवाड़ा उसकी गवाही देता है। तो इसीलिए वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन की ये मीटिंग अगर विजयवाड़ा में रखी गई है तो मैं इसके लिए आपको साधुवाद देता हूं कि आपने बहुत ही उपयुक्त जगह पर इस इन्फ्लुएंसर मीट को भी और इस विषय के ऊपर चर्चा करने के लिए भी हम सबको बुलाया। अच्छा, एक और बात भी है कि वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन की जब चर्चा होती है तो बस यहीं से कुछ किलोमीटर दूर जो सबसे ज्यादा प्रबल तरीके से वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन पर बोलने वाले हमारे साथी है, बीजेपी तो बोलती है पर वो है आंध्र प्रदेश के यशस्वी मुख्यमंत्री चंद्रबाबू नायडू गारू, जो प्रबल तरीके से वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन के बारे में बोलते हैं। सबसे पहले उन्होंने जब समर्थन में बयान दिया तो वो बयान भी विजयवाड़ा से ही दिया था। तो ये भी विजयवाड़ा की एक प्रकार से मैं कह सकता हूं कि अहमियत है और इस डिस्कशन की विजयवाड़ा में अहमियत है कि विजयवाड़ा से हर एक व्यक्ति ने इस वन नेशन का भी और वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन का भी संदेश दिया। मित्रों, अब हम बात करते हैं कि वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन दरअसल इसमें क्या क्या बिंदु है और क्या हम लोगों को बातें आगे रखनी है, चाहे सोशल मीडिया के माध्यम से या चाहे टेलीविजन में हम लोग डिबेट्स में जाते हैं उसके माध्यम से, या जब ऐसे हम आयोजन प्रोग्राम करते हैं, इवेंट्स करते हैं, स्मॉल मीटिंग्स करते हैं, तो उसमें क्या क्या संदेश लोगों तक पहुंचना चाहिए। मित्रों, जब पहला चुनाव हुआ भारत में, भारत एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डेमोक्रेसी बना, हमने संविधान को अपनाया और जब पहला चुनाव हुआ 1952 में, तो भारत की कुल इलेक्टोरेट लगभग 17 करोड़ 17 करोड़। और अब जो लास्ट लोकसभा का चुनाव हुआ है 2024 में, वो संख्या बढ़ते बढ़ते अब हो चुकी है 97 करोड़ 97 करोड़। फ्रॉम 1952 जब 17 करोड़ वोटर ने वोट करने के लिए उनको अधिकार मिला था, आज 97 करोड़ इलेक्टोरेट हमारे देश में लोकसभा चुनाव में पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं। और निश्चित रूप से जिस चुनाव का खर्च कुछ 100 करोड़ 200 करोड़ 1000 करोड़ में होता था कुछ वर्षों पहले तक, आज उसके ऊपर 2024 आते आते अगर रिलायबल आंकड़े देखें तो इलेक्शन में खर्च 1,35,000 करोड़ का हुआ, सारे खर्च अगर मिला दिए। तो ये एक बहुत ही बड़ा एक्सरसाइज है और बहुत ही कॉस्टली और एक्सपेंसिव एक्सरसाइज भी है। इसमें इतना 1,35,000 करोड़ का खर्च भी हुआ। और वन नेशन वन पोल की जब हम बात करते हैं तो मोटा मोटी इसका कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है? अगर एक ब्रॉड कॉन्सेप्ट देखा जाए, जो अभी जो लेटेस्ट रिपोर्ट आई है, रामनाथ कोविंद जी हमारे पूर्व राष्ट्रपति, उनकी अध्यक्षता में एक कमेटी बनी थी साइमल्टेनियस चुनाव करने के को लेकर, और लंबा अध्ययन करने के बाद लगभग 18,000 पेजेस की एक रिपोर्ट उन्होंने दी। उसमें लगभग 40 से अधिक पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ने अपने व्यूज दिए। उसमें लगभग 80-85% पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ने इसमें सहमति दी। इसमें लगभग 25,000 से ज्यादा पब्लिक कमेंट्स आए और उसमें भी अगर आप देखेंगे तो 80% से ज्यादा लोगों ने वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन के लिए सहमति जताई। और इस रिपोर्ट के माध्यम से जो मेन पॉइंट वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन से निकलकर आता है वो ये है कि हमारे देश में जो लोकसभा चुनाव है और जो विधानसभा के चुनाव है वो दोनों एक साथ सिंक्रोनाइज हो जाने चाहिए। मतलब एक ही समय पर लोकसभा और विधानसभा के चुनाव हो जाने चाहिए। आप कहेंगे कि लोकल बॉडी के भी चुनाव होते हैं, उनका क्या? म्युनिसिपैलिटी का चुनाव हो या पंचायती चुनाव हो, तो उसको लेकर भी इस रिपोर्ट ने कहा है कि एक बार ये सिंक्रोनाइज हो जाए, ये दोनों साथ में इनका समन्वय हो जाए, लोकसभा चुनाव और देश के अलग अलग प्रदेशों के विधानसभा चुनाव, तो उसके बाद स्टेज 2 में, नेक्स्ट फेज में हमें पंचायती जो चुनाव है या म्युनिसिपल चुनाव है, लोकल चुनाव है, उनको भी सिंक करना है। और 100 दिन के भीतर, मतलब ये लोकसभा विधानसभा चुनाव के होने के 100 दिन के भीतर देश भर में जो भी लोकल बॉडी पोल्स है वो हो जाने चाहिए। तो मोटा मोटी ये रोडमैप इन्होंने इस रिपोर्ट में दिया है। यहां पर बैठे जो हमारे सभी एक्सपर्ट्स हैं जो इस पर काम कर रहे हैं वो भी इस बात के ऊपर तस्दीक करेंगे। Now the question is that, is this one nation, one election, is it a new concept? The answer is no, it is not a new concept. In fact, many of our opponents who are opposing this one nation, one election, they are saying that it is unconstitutional, it is something new that has not been tried, and they say that it is against the federal structure. It is against the state's rights. But you will be surprised to know that from the first general election of this country in 1952 to the fourth general election, which was in 1967, 52, 57, 62, 67, all these 4 elections were held under one nation, one poll. That means there were simultaneous elections in these 4 elections. This means that it is not a new concept. ये नया concept नहीं है. It is not unconstitutional, because to say it is unconstitutional means you are making mockery and fun of the constitution makers, our founding fathers who sat in the Constituent Assembly, Baba Saheb Ambedkar ji, Sardar Patel ji, all our great leaders who sat in the Constituent Assembly, they are the ones who decided that there should be one nation, one election, and that is how our constitutional journey, our electoral journey began. So if anybody says to you that, sir, this is against constitution, you ask them, that was Nehruji against constitution? Then why was the election in 52 done in one nation, one election? Why election was done in 57, one nation, one election? Or is it that when you did it, it was chamatkar, and today if somebody is proposing it, it becomes gunegar? This kind of double standard cannot. How come it was good for federalism back then, and how it has become anti-federalism today? In fact, if you want to truly respect the constitution, if you want to truly respect the spirit of the constitution makers, then we must go back to that system which was in place till 1967. When they ask you that, no, but sir, how can we take such a decision without thinking it through? So then you tell them that, you know, the first time that such a recommendation that we must go back to synchronize elections. In 1967 we had same Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha, synchronized elections. It changed after Indira Gandhi ji came to power. And when she came to power, then she has changed the duration of certain assemblies by misusing Article 356 and dismissing state governments, because of which the schedule of those elections changed. And then also the schedule of Lok Sabha elections changed. For example, 67 the election took place, so technically after 5 years the election of Lok Sabha should have taken place in 1972. But in that particular cycle, the election had been called in 1971. And then when the 1971 election took place, after that you would remember that you would think that in 5 years the election period gets over, then 1976 would have been the next election. But at that time in 1975, the constitution was suspended, our fundamental rights were suspended, and emergency was imposed in this country. And the duration of Lok Sabha was made for 6 years. Never has it been done ever before, or never has it been repeated. The only time duration of Lok Sabha became 6 years was when Indira Gandhi did it, and when the emergency was imposed. And therefore the next election after that, from 1971, took place in 1977, where Indira Gandhi was thrown out of power, and the Janata government came to power. So anyway, the schedule of Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha elections had changed. And therefore the first time recommendation that we must go back to the 1952, 1957, 1962 model came in 1983, when Election Commission of India gave a report that it will be feasible to go back and it will be necessary to go back to the simultaneous polls, when Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha are held together. So the first time the recommendation came was in 1983. Was BJP in power in 1983? So it was under Indira Gandhi's government only the first time the recommendation also came. Thereafter, several reports have come. Totally 7 or 8 reports are there. The Law Commission report number 170, Law Commission report number 255, 79th Parliamentary Standing Committee report. There is a working paper of Niti Aayog, and there is a 2018 Law Commission report draft. All of these reports have come before the Ramnath Kovindji report, which has come in 2024. So there are series of reports, not one, not two, totally 7 or 8 reports that have advocated for the simultaneous election model to be reapplied in the country. So therefore, if anybody tells you that it is against constitution, you first tell them that it was being held from 1952 to 67. Was that against constitution, yes or no? If somebody tells you that it is a new idea, then you tell them that there are 7 to 8 reports and the first report has come in 1983. How can you say this is a new idea? And if somebody tells you it is against the federal structure, then you tell them that we don't need lecture on federal structure, especially from those who have misused Article 356 maximum number of times. Congress party before 2014 has misused Article 356 to dismiss state governments without any reason about 90 times. The first time 356 was used, anybody has an idea? When was first time 356? So you are having advantage with your vast knowledge and experience. Let me take somebody from Gen Z. You are boomer generation. Person with a proud tika. Boliye. Which year? Namudripat government. Actually, that is not correct. That is the first time Article 356 was used to dismiss any elected communist government in the world. It was the first elected communist government. It was dismissed by Nehruji. Irony is that today the leftists are in alliance with Congress party in Bengal. They are fighting. They are doing kushti in Kerala and dosti and masti in Bengal. Anyway, but the first time the Article 356 was used in 1951 by Nehruji against his own Congress government in Punjab to dismiss Punjab government. People of Andhra know about misuse of 356. 1984. I don't have to remind people, no. The machinations and the political manipulation that was done by Rajiv Gandhi ji and his government simply because he could not bear Telugu pride. And we have seen the kind of attitude he had against Chief Minister Anjaya ji also, and then what he has done to NTR Garu also. So that time also the misuse of Article 356, the misuse of central power, Congress has done it time and again. And therefore for Congress to preach anything about federal structure is like devil preaching the scriptures. मतलब कि शैतान जो है वो बाइबल, कुरान, गीता का पाठ पढ़ा। कांग्रेस शुड नॉट टॉक अबाउट फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर। कांग्रेस इज द वर्स्ट वायलेटर ऑफ फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर। एंड अगेन, if this was against federal structure, then why did our constitution makers put it from 1952, 57, 62, 67? So this is a question that you need to answer, and you should not be defensive. You should be aggressive that Congress should be the last ones who should be preaching about. Vajpayee ji had said that elections, they are like heartbeat of democracy. इलेक्शन जो होता है वो लोकतंत्र की धड़कन की तरह होता है। ये बात तो सही है, लोकतंत्र को हम पर्व भी बोलते हैं, कॉल इट अ फेस्टिवल। बट इफ एवरी डे देयर इज अ फेस्टिवल, व्हाट विल हैपन? What will happen if every day there is a festival? Then you cannot do any work. What will happen if your heartbeat goes very fast? Is it sign of healthy body? It is sign of high BP. So while elections are like heartbeat of democracy, ये हार्टबीट सही समय पर धड़कती रहे, ये भी बहुत जरूरी है। अगर इसकी धड़कन बहुत तेज हो जाती है तो इसका मतलब कि कहीं ना कहीं कोई बीमारी। And you must have seen the period between 1996 to about 2004, but then 99 to 2004 we had a stable government of Vajpayee ji for 5 years. But between 96 to 99 we had government of Devarauda ji, we had government of Indra Kumar Gujral ji, then we had government of Vajpayee ji. Then again we have seen that Vajpayee ji government came for 13 months and it fell by 1 vote. So this way, when the elections are taking place every 1 year, or when governments are changing every 1 year, can there be focus on policy? Can there be focus on governance? Or will there only be focus on saving the satta, keeping the seat, keeping your people together, ensuring that your seat does not go? And therefore, while elections are very, very important to democracy, elections should take place at the right time and the right period. Because in no other country, you look at United States, you look at Japan, you look at Germany, all the countries which are very developed, they have elections but at the regular intervals. If they also keep having continuous elections, then political instability will be an outcome of this. And therefore, for political stability to be maintained, it is necessary that elections take place at the right time, and between the two election cycles, the focus should be on governance. During elections, the focus can be on politics. And therefore, one nation, one election. The main aim is, in a sense, that for 6 months we devote to politics, because politics is also very important means in a democracy. But the remaining 4.5 years we have to give towards good governance and towards national development, and we must all come together. Just now we have finished the Lok Sabha 2024 election. After that, I thought I will go for some break, although I cannot go to Vietnam. Only some people are blessed that they, after losing election for third time also and becoming leader of opposition also, and after the budget session is in session, they can still go to Vietnam. In BJP we don't have such luxury. But after 2024 Lok Sabha election is over, you just imagine. First we had the election of Haryana and Jammu Kashmir immediately. Then we had Maharashtra and Jharkhand, and just now we have had election in Delhi. In Delhi election we have managed to come back to power after 27 years, so at least हमारा वहां पे बदलाव खत्म हो गया बीजेपी का, तो इसके लिए बड़ी खुशी है हमें. But now, before we can even take next breath, by the end of this year there will be Bihar election. Then after that in 2026 we will have, there will be Assam election, there will be election in Tamil Nadu, there will be election in Kerala, there will be election in West Bengal. Then in 2027 there will be election in Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Gujarat. You tell me one period of 6 months from now, or from 2024 Lok Sabha to 2027, there are 6 months there will be election. You will not find any period. Every 6 months there is some election, or within that 6 months period. So this is what I am saying. कि धड़कन में बहुत तेज धड़क रहे. Now what happens is that when such elections are held, every few weeks, every few months, then the focus is only on politics, not on governance. And therefore, one nation, one poll, it is extremely important. And let me give you 3 or 4 important reasons why one nation, one election is important. One is practical reason. I have told you about the cost it takes to hold one Lok Sabha election, so almost 1,35,000 crores. So that cost can be saved if it is done once in 5 years, rather than repeat that cost every 2-3 months, because the state election will also have its cost. There will be other elections which will have their own cost. So how many times you are undertaking the same cost, which can be used for better purposes? Secondly, whenever the election process is done, lot of our government servants, our teachers, security personnel, they are deployed, they are diverted for the electioneering work. Now, situation is that every 2 or 3 months, 4 months, there is an election. So the teacher who is supposed to teach in the school is doing their election duty, then rather than doing the teaching duty. Security personnel, rather than focusing on the larger security issues of this country, every few months he is being sent or she is being sent for the election duty. So the resources of the country, especially the government resources, the official resources, time and again they are being diverted for purposes which are outside their main scope of work, the additional scope, which is the election process. Obviously, then the efficiency in the official work will come down. Thirdly, a very practical issue, if you think about it. From our party, you know that Modi is the Prime Minister, but he is also our main campaigner. Many other parties also, their campaigners, they go for the election campaigning. Now, when elections are held, even if supposing sometimes you feel Modi ji का ये policy तो अच्छा है, ये अच्छा है, मेरे स्टेट के लिए भी अच्छा है, but election है, अब election है, so even if Modi ji has done something good, the opponent cannot praise Modi ji. His dharma during the election period is to go and abuse BJP, even if he agrees with the policy, even if he is utilizing the policy in our state. So the spirit of Team India, it goes for a complete toss, because all the time we are fighting political battle, and there is very little time to come together as a state, as a complete country, and to work towards people's benefit. Technically, 6 months we should do politics, where we go and criticize somebody, they come and criticize us, we fight over the policy, we fight over the issues, 2-term mail we fight, but once these 6 months are over, the elections are over, then he is also, if he is governing some state, I am in the center, somebody is in the state, we all have to work together as one single Team India, one unit of Team India, and take the country forward. Now you just imagine and see what is happening in Tamil Nadu. Elections have just concluded, so they are opposing the NEP. They have suddenly started boycotting even the rupee symbol, which was made by a Tamilian, by their party leaders during the UPA tenure, facilitated and felicitated by Karunanidhi ji and by Chidambaram ji. But because politics is before governance, politics is before everything else, they are opposing what they have only adopted. That is how politics is. Even though the NEP does not say anything about Hindi imposition, nothing about Hindi imposition. In fact, we have promoted regional languages maximum. Prime Minister has praised Tamil language as the oldest ancient language and has spoken on United Nations platform. We have established seats for Tamil studies in BHU University in the name of Kudaran and Bharati. We have started Kashi Tamil Sangama. We have done much more for Tamil language and Tamilians and Tamil Nadu than UPA could ever do. Still, there is a political battle which is being fought. You must have seen before Delhi elections also, just before Delhi elections, Kejriwal, he used to say many things. But most outrageous claim was made by him that people of Haryana, they are poisoning the water of Yamuna. Now, can you believe such kind of allegations being made? And these allegations, when they are made, imagine what they do to societal relations. There was a tense situation between people of Haryana and Delhi. If somebody is making this kind of argument, former CM, against people of Haryana, naturally it will have repercussions. Now imagine if such loaded allegations, such loaded things are said every 2 months. Will the relations in the country improve? Will there be a spirit of team India? Can the center and states work together and take India forward if there are such relations? Where everything that center is doing is seen with negative aspect, and therefore it is necessary that once we do the politics for 6 months, and then we focus on governance for 4.5. And therefore, one nation, one election. The biggest key takeaway, if you have to say, is that we have to go from election mode to governance mode. And this one nation, one election will ensure that India goes from Chunar Niti to Sushashan Ki, to governance ki. Cost saving I have told you. I have told you about the diversion of resources that are official resources. There is one more important practical reason. Voter engagement and turnout. Now see, if the elections are there every 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, there will be a voter fatigue also. And therefore the enthusiasm of the voters will not be there to come out and participate. And then it will have no meaning if the voters don't participate in the numbers they should. And therefore once in a while where the election is held at the right time, then the voters also ensure that they make their vote count and they go out in large numbers and they avoid any other activity during that period so that they can go and cast their vote. So from the point of view of voter engagement and voter turnout also, one nation, one election will ensure that more participation of people takes place. Now some people are saying that BJP is wanting one nation, one election, Madhukarji, because we are election fighting machine. All electoral bonds are with us. We are very strong. We are Karyakata, we are Vichardhara, we are Nita. So therefore we are going to have one nation, one election. But it is a wrong argument. If they are saying that we are a very strong election fighting machinery, then we are actually doing disservice by saying that there should be just one election. Well, if I am a very strong electioneering machinery, I would love to fight election every 2 months because I have the wherewithal to fight it. And anyways, we are more keen in taking vacation every 2 months. Now you fight election for 6 months, then 4.5 years before vacation, nobody will question you also. So from point of view of vacationing also, it is good for them. And from the point of view that they think we are an electioneering machinery also, it is more advantageous and very thing for them because all of us will put our best foot forward during that one period of 6 months. BJP also, it can do only X amount of things in 6 months for reaching to the people. Congress can also do. Samajwadi Party, Trinamool Congress, DMK, all of them put their best in that 6-month period. Now certain people are saying that this is being done so that national issues hijack the regional issues. But when the elections are held simultaneously, the entire focus will be on the national issue. Let me give you certain examples of it. Do you know, in Odisha, in 2019, I am not talking about 2024, in 2019 when the state election and the Lok Sabha election they were held simultaneously. At that time the BJP in 2019 has performed very well in the Lok Sabha election in Odisha. You have got a good number of seats there. But at the same time when BJP is rising in the Lok Sabha elections, in the general elections, at the same time Naveen Babu, his party got a good substantial majority in the Vidhan Sabha election. So this means that the voter is very intelligent. Even if there are 2 boxes, 2 EVMs in front of him, one to elect the MP and one to elect the Vidhan Sabha Vidayak MLA, he is making a discerning choice. He is making a wise choice. He is making an informed choice that केंद्र में किसको लाना है, सेंटर में किसको बिठाना है, किसको प्रधानमंत्री बनाना है और किसको मुख्यमंत्री का काम देना है. And he has made that choice. She has made that choice. Not just in this case of Odisha. You would remember, just before the Lok Sabha election in 2019, there was election of Vidhan Sabha in Chhattisgarh, there was election of Vidhan Sabha in Madhya Pradesh and in Rajasthan. BJP did not do well there. BJP lost Rajasthan, BJP lost Chhattisgarh, and BJP lost Madhya Pradesh. We marginally were behind in Madhya Pradesh. But despite that, in 2019 when the Lok Sabha elections took place in those states, at that time we had secured maximum seats in the Lok Sabha. So other people in that small period of time also, they have not got influenced that, oh, that because of national election we will vote a certain way. They have kept their issues as the priority. And where they wanted one particular government in the state, they have gone for that option. And when they wanted something else as an alternative in the center, they have gone for that option. Let me give you one more recent example. Just now we are seeing in Maharashtra, Vidhan Sabha election took place, in which Mahaluki, our alliance, which is called BJP, Asli Shiv Sena, Eknathji Shinde Sena, Shiv Sena, and Ajit Pawarji's NCP faction, we have fought together. And our alliance, Mahaluki, it has got about 230 plus seats out of 288. Historical victory. BJP has got maximum seats, it has got 130 plus seats. Mahaluki has got 230 plus seats, big victory. Despite that, sir, at the same time there was the Lok Sabha by-poll in Nanded. Congress has won that poll. Now, if one election is going to change sentiment of other election, if that is the argument being made, how come in that particular mandate seat BJP has not won? So people are very wise. We should not judge the wisdom of the voter. When Congress or opposition or some uninformed people make this argument that national issues will dominate, regional issues will not come to the fore, regional aspiration will be subdued, national rhetoric will prevail, this is an uninformed argument. In fact, they may have benefit of their positive local sentiment in the national election. Who knows, it can work both ways. Anyway, so these are some of the arguments that are going to be made, that are thrown at you. These are the frequently asked questions, so you must be encountering on television. And you have to answer them with facts, figures, rhetoric, but also rhetoric which is based on some political history. And therefore I am trying to give you some insight with political history and with facts. Let's examine what has been written or said in the Ramnath Kovind report. Ramnath Kovind report, 47 political parties have participated. And out of the 47 political parties that have participated in this, to give their views, 32 political parties have agreed to this. I was just telling you that our very esteemed alliance partner TDP and Chandra Babuji has also openly come in support of one nation, one election, right here from the land of Vijayawada. Similarly, many other political parties have expressed, and these political parties, they are all representing diverse views across the country. So in a sense, this is the view of the entire country that was taken by the Ramnath Kovind report, and in that majority of the people have said that they want this system back in place. Publicly also views were invited, and out of the invited views, over 25,000 views that came to the committee, almost 80% have said that we are in favor of this. So, apart from this public sentiment, they also consulted experts. The committee itself had many stalwarts. It had likes of Ghulam Nabi Azad ji, it had the likes of Harish Salve ji, but it also consulted several former chief justices, several former chief election commissioners of India, several top bureaucrats, several leaders of various political parties and other organizations who are stakeholders, and the cumulative outcome of this was that they have all suggested that we must go back to a system where elections are held simultaneously. One of the most important things that Ramnath Kovind report has said, and this has come after consultation with organizations like CRI, FICCI, ASSOCHAM. These are bodies which study economic policy, they study business environment. They have said that if one nation, one election is re-implemented in this country, if you go back to that system, Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha simultaneous elections, then it will lead to an increase in our GDP by 1 to 1.5%. Can you imagine? You know how much is 1 to 1.5% of Indian GDP? It is almost 5,36,000 crores. Imagine just that one decision of going back to this model is going to boost our GDP by 1 to 1.5%. But the most important thing that was analyzed, which we should highlight and magnify maximum, amplify maximum. Whenever elections are held, all these problems take place, our officers are diverted, political rhetoric becomes very aggressive. Rather than team India spirit, we become political parties, BJP, Congress, SP, DMK, we are fighting like cats and dogs. All of this is there. But one thing you have noticed what happens when elections take place. Policy paralysis. Why? Because the model code of conduct gets implemented. And when model code of conduct is implemented, this means that no major decision that can potentially influence the voter one way or the other, or it can have some kind of impact on the election outcome, all of that is stopped. Which means that even if that decision is important for the people of that place, that decision cannot be taken. It has to wait till the election process is over. Now the calculation shows that on average, because of these recurring election cycles, every year India is losing 3 to 4 months of good development work opportunities. 3 to 4 months are being wasted just because of this imposition of MCC and the resultant policy paralysis that is taking place. In one case in Maharashtra in 2016, you know how many days MCC was prevalent in Maharashtra and different parts of Maharashtra? Can anybody take a guess? In that 1 year of 2016? Take a guess. So we take guess. How many days MCC was in place in Maharashtra in year of 2016? In different parts of Maharashtra. Anyone wants to take guess in 1 year how many days? Sir, you want to take a guess? आप गैस लेना चाहेंगे? 307 days. 307 days MCC was in place in some part of Maharashtra in the year 2016. अब बताओ how can work happen? And therefore it is necessary. And when you see these facts on television or on social media, you can Google. Now you have very easy option. You use Chat GPT. How many of you have used Chat GPT? You can use Grok also, Chat GPT also. So information is available at the fingertips now. It is the more refined version of Google search engine. You can put in your query, but you cross verify. Don't just go by one source. It can be biased source. It can be it can lack some authenticity. So it is always good that the one source you verify with 2 other 3 other sources. So you come to a conclusion that no one of these facts are accurate. But when you have so many pointers, you can immediately take the facts, add some more of your own facts, and put it out in the public domain. That this is what is going to be addressed by one nation, one election. You have to communicate this when you are on the television debate, you have to communicate this when you are in the meetings with people, you have to communicate this in video format. You can make Instagram reels, you can make videos on YouTube for 10-12 minutes. You can go and have conversation with university or college students. But you must tell them that these are the advantages of one nation, one election. And what are the biggest drains on our resources when one nation, one election is not in place. And you can choose your own way of communicating. You don't need to communicate so formally. This is more of a formal setting, therefore I am communicating to you formally, but make it more entertaining, make it more creative, make it more in the lingo and language of the young voters, 18 to 30, 35, 40. They may have never even experienced UPA government between 2004 to 14. So give alone their understanding what was happening during Nehruji's time and Indiraji's time, they don't have any clue. So how are you going to communicate to those people? So you have to find creative ways that reaches them. Now, finally I just want to tell you that one last point these people will use against you is that they will say that when you do one nation, one election, you are making it a presidential form of election. You are asking for personality-driven election. Because you have personality like Narendra Modi ji, it is suiting you. You have such a big personality, nobody else is there in his competition, in his league. अब नरेंद्र मोदी जी इतना बड़ा नेता और हम लोग के पास इतना बड़ा नेता नहीं है कि आप तो सब चुनाव ऐसे जीत जाएंगे. But when they say this, you ask them who is personality driven, BJP or your party? In DMK, and correct me if I am wrong, last 55 years, only Karunanidhi family is at the helm of affairs, whether it is chief minister or whether it is party president. This is Dravidian movement according to them. They can't find anybody outside their own family. In Uddhav Sena, it was Babasaheb Thackeray ji, then Uddhav Thackeray ji, now after Uddhav Thackeray ji, Vijay Thackeray ji. In Samajwadi Party, Mulayam Singh Yadav, Akhilesh Yadav, then you know that the entire family is there. Ram Gopal Yadav, Dimple Yadav, Tej Pratap Yadav, Akshay Yadav. In Lalu Prasad Yadav family, Lalu ji, Rabdi ji, Tej Pratap, Tejasvi, then whoever the child of Tejasvi. In Congress also, after 1950s, till just now, before Kharge ji was made Manmohan Singh of the party, till then, about 45 years, the presidentship has been only with one family. Ma, फिर बेटा, बेटा फिर माँ, माँ फिर बेटा, बेटा फिर माँ, and now बेटी has also come. So who has made the elections personality driven? Who has made the party personality driven? So first, if you are talking about personality driven politics, you get rid of personality driven politics in your own party. अपने पार्टी में जी जिनपिंग वाला मॉडल लगा रखा है और दूसरों को बोल रहे हैं कि पर्सनैलिटी पॉलिटिक्स कर रहा है. In BJP in the same period, 55 years, one family in DMK. In BJP you see, last 45-50 years, what has happened? From 1980 to now, you see how many presidents we had? We have Nadda ji से पहले अमित जी से पहले राजनाथ जी से पहले गडकरी जी से पहले अडवाणी जी से पहले जनकृष्ण मूर्ति जी, उनसे पहले लक्ष्मण जी. हमारे यहाँ पे ना तो किसी का बाप ना किसी का बेटा. वाजपेयी जी, everyone was there. So we have had more than 12 presidents, 13 presidents in the same period. You have not had more than one family. So it is not BJP that is practicing personality politics. It is actually your party which is practicing and promoting personality politics. And therefore, if you see the pattern is that these people, they oppose anything good which is there for the country. Because for them it is not national interest first. For them it is their parivar interest first. For them it is their vested interest first. They don't care about whether India will progress or benefit. If you remember, these are the same people who propose GST. But when they are out of power, they have opposed GST. They are the same people who propose Aadhaar. When they are out of power, they are opposing Aadhaar. They are the same people who said bank account खोलना चाहिए. When Modi ji opened 50 crore bank accounts, they said ये बैंक अकाउंट क्यों खोल दिए? They are the same people who said डायरेक्ट पैसा जाना चाहिए. मोदी जी ने डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर किया तो they have opposed stamp duty and direct benefit transfer. They are the same people who have in Goa implemented UCC. In constitution they have put UCC as one of the articles, and today they are opposing two-term UCC. So it shows that these political parties, all the stand they have taken during the time when they were in power, they have started taking opposite stand of it when they are out of power. And even one nation, one election, Congress was for one nation, one election. That is why the election in 52, that is why the election in 57, that is why the election in 62, all of them were done by one nation, one election. But today Congress is out of power, so the same one nation, one election has now become disturbance for them. Now it has become anti-federal and anti-constitutional. So in essence, you have to point out the hypocrisy that this is not opposition because there is some genuine case, but it is opposition just for the sake of convenience. You have to expose their double standards on issues like this using other relatable examples like GST, like digital payments, like their stand on bank accounts, like their stand on so many other number of issues, and you have to expose them that they are opposing this just for the sake of opposing. These are the points that need to be covered whenever you go for any discourse on television, in social media, in events, addressing colleges and universities. These points I thought that should be there in your entire repertoire when you are approaching any of the media organizations. I will obviously send you this document through Shehzad, so you all have very easy pointers. What are the pros, cons, what argument to use when. But now, once you are equipped with this knowledge, you have to take this further to every household, you have to take this to every college, to every university, and you have to communicate the importance of it. Because any decision that is taken in democracy, the decision is not taken just by Bahumat. You may have Bahumat, but the policy gets implemented only when there is Sarvamat. And to create that Sarvamat and Janmat, it is necessary that all of you also become ambassadors of one nation, one election, and you must talk about the benefits of one nation, one election, and that's when this message will reach the widest corners of the country. These are the points I wanted to communicate. Now we can have a dialogue or a question answer or interaction, whatever is okay with you all. But thank you for listening to me so patiently. Once again, thank you very much.